Russia is the largest country on the Earth's surface and spans both the Asian and European continents. Its capital, Moscow, is the country's largest city and its political, economic, and cultural center. Russia attracts attention with its rich history, diverse culture, and wide geography. Today we will introduce you to Russia, one of the greatest countries in the world. The history of Russia begins in the 9th century with the establishment of the Kiev Principality by East Slavic tribes. The Principality of Kiev accepted Christianity in the 10th century and established close relations with the Byzantine Empire. As a result of the attacks of the Mongol Empire in the 13th century, the Kievan dynasty was weakened and occupied by the Mongols. In the 14th century, the Principality of Moscow began to grow stronger and eventually declared its independence by winning a victory against the Golden Horde. Towards the end of the 15th century, Prince of Moscow III, Ivan laid the foundation of Russia by uniting other Russian principalities and declared himself Tsar of Russia. During this period, Russia's territory began to expand, and the Kazan, Astrakhan, and Siberian Khanates were conquered. With the establishment of the Romanov dynasty in the 17th century, Russia became one of the great powers in Europe. During the reign of Peter the Great, 1682 to 1725, Russia entered a major modernization and westernization process. Peter the Great fought with Sweden in an attempt to gain access to the Baltic Sea, eventually he founded St. Petersburg and made it the new capital of Russia. In the 18th century, during the reign of Catherine the Great, Russia further expanded its territory by participating in the partition of Poland and annexing the Crimean Khanate. In the 19th century, Russia played a major role in the Napoleonic Wars, repelling Napoleon's attempted invasion of Russia in 1812. In the second half of the 19th century, major changes took place in the social and economic structure of Russia. In 1861, Second Alexander abolished slavery and declared freedom for the peasants. However, these reforms and social injustices led to an increase in revolutionary movements. Defeats and civil unrest in the Russo-Japanese War in 1905 led to the 1905 Revolution and limited constitutional reforms. In 1917, economic difficulties and political unrest during World War I led to the February and October revolutions. As a result of the February Revolution, Tsar II Nicholas was deposed and a provisional government was established. However, with the October Revolution, the Bolsheviks seized power and the Soviet Union was established. In 1922, the Bolsheviks, led by Lenin, won the Russian Civil War and officially established the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics, USSR. After Lenin's death in 1924, Stalin came to power and established a totalitarian rule, initiating a process of massive industrialization and collectivization, too. In World War II, the Soviet Union won victory over Nazi Germany and expanded its influence in Eastern Europe. In the post-war period, known as the Cold War, there was an ideological and military rivalry between the USA and the USSR. In the 1980s, Mikhail Gorbachev's reforms, Glasnost and Perestroika, led to the dissolution of the USSR. In 1991, the Soviet Union officially dissolved and the Russian Federation was established. Boris Yeltsin became Russia's first elected president and implemented economic and political reforms. With Vladimir Putin coming to power in 2000, Russia entered a period of political stability and economic growth. The Putin era is characterized by authoritarian rule and a more aggressive foreign policy internationally. Russia's current situation is a result of these events and processes from the depths of its history. Russia's culture has a rich and deep heritage shaped by the diversity brought about by its spread over a wide geography. Russian culture emerged as a mixture of Slavic peoples, the Byzantine Empire, Mongol Tatar rule, and Western European influences. Russian literature offers the most important examples of world literature. In the 19th century, Russian literature experienced its golden age, and writers such as Fyodor Dostoevsky, Lev Tolstoy, Anton Chekhov became known worldwide. Dostoevsky's works such as Crime and Punishment and The Brothers Karamazov delved deeply into human psychology, while Tolstoy's novels War and Peace and Anna Karenina present a panoramic picture of Russian society. Chekhov's short stories and plays masterfully depict human relationships and social realities. Russian music has a great richness in both classical and folk music. In the 19th century, composers such as Pyotr Ilyich Tchaikovsky, Nikolai Rimsky-Korsakov, and Modest Mussorgsky left their mark on Russian classical music. Tchaikovsky's ballets, such as Swan Lake, Sleeping Beauty, and The Nutcracker, are known worldwide. Additionally, Russian folk music and dance dances are an important part of the country's cultural heritage. Traditional instruments such as balalaika and domra are frequently used in Russian folk music. One of the most well-known Russian dances is the Kalinka dance, which is characterized by fast and energetic movements. Russian theater and ballet have an important place on the world stage. Bolshoi Theater in Moscow and the Mariinsky Theater in St. Petersburg is famous for its productions of both opera and ballet. In the early 20th century, Sergei Diaghilev's ballets Russes achieved great success in Paris and played an important role in the development of modern ballet. Russian architecture has developed in various styles in different periods and regions. In medieval Russia, wooden churches and cathedrals were common. St. Basil's Cathedral in Moscow is one of the most iconic examples of Russian architecture, with its colorful domes and unique design. In the 18th and 19th centuries, Baroque and neoclassical architectural styles became widespread in Russia. The Winter Palace and Peterhof Palace in St. Petersburg are among the magnificent buildings of these periods. Russia's contributions in the field of art are also great. In the early 20th century, avant-garde artists such as Kazimir Malevich and Vasily Kandinsky played important roles in the development of modern art. Painters such as Ilya Repin and Ivan Shishkin are among the leading names of Russian realist painting. In addition, art movements such as symbolism and constructivism were also influential in Russia. In Russia, religion is an important part of cultural identity. Orthodox Christianity is the main religion of Russia, and the Russian Orthodox Church plays a central role in the religious life of the country. However, other religions such as Islam, Buddhism, and Judaism also survive in Russia. Religious holidays and rituals are an important part of Russian culture. Russian cuisine is rich with traditional foods adapted to cold climate conditions. Dishes such as borscht, pelmeni, blini, and kvass are well-known examples of Russian cuisine. There are also various local cuisines in Russia's vast geography. For example, Caucasian cuisine is known for its spicy meat dishes and vegetables, while Siberian cuisine focuses more on game and fish. Russia's cultural events and festivals reflect the country's vibrant and colorful culture. Maslenitsa, Pancake Week, is a traditional festival celebrating the arrival of spring, and various events, games, and meals are held during this period. New Year and Christmas are widely celebrated in Russia, and families come together to prepare traditional meals. Additionally, cultural festivals, concerts, and theatrical performances held in cities and towns demonstrate the liveliness of Russia's artistic life. Russian culture has an important place in the world cultural heritage with its deep roots and various influences. This rich heritage is one of the fundamental elements that shape the identity and daily life of the Russian people. Women and men in Russia have different life experiences and expectations within the framework of social roles, cultural norms, and economic conditions. Women have played an important role in Russia's history and today. During the Soviet Union, women's participation in the workforce was encouraged, and many women held important positions in fields such as engineering, medicine, education, and science. Today, women in Russia work actively in various professions and sectors. However, problems such as gender inequality and the underrepresentation of women in senior management positions remain. Although progress has been made in women's rights and equality, issues such as domestic violence and gender-based discrimination are still serious problems. Women often have to balance both household chores and professional careers. This situation is called double shift, a common phenomenon in Russia. Women's education levels are generally high, and many women are university graduates. However, despite their educational achievements, women's average wages in the workforce tend to be lower than men's. Men generally take traditionally stronger and protective roles in the family and society. In Russian culture, men are generally expected to bear the financial responsibility of their families and protect them. This situation can increase social pressure on men and lead to various psychological problems. Men's labor force participation rate is high, but their rate of working in dangerous and challenging jobs such as heavy industry, mining, and construction is also high. The risks associated with working in these types of jobs can negatively affect men's health and contribute to their shorter life expectancy than women. In Russia, men's education participation rate may be lower than women's, making some men less competitive in the labor market. However, men appear to be more represented in senior management positions and in the policy field. Family structure in Russia may reflect traditional gender roles. While women are generally responsible for childcare and housework, men are responsible for meeting the economic needs of the family. However, it has been observed that these roles have begun to change in recent years, and more men are participating in housework and childcare. Gender roles are reinforced through media, education, and cultural norms. In Russia, the media often presents men and women in certain stereotypes. Women are often associated with beauty and fashion, while men are associated with power and success. These stereotypes can shape younger generations' perceptions of gender roles and make it difficult to achieve gender equality. The lives of women and men in Russia may vary according to regional and socioeconomic differences. Women and men living in big cities may have more education and career opportunities than those living in rural areas. While there is more awareness and progress on gender equality issues in cities, it can be observed that traditional gender roles are stronger in rural areas. The health of men and women is also shaped by gender differences. While women generally have greater access to healthcare, men tend to neglect health problems. This may contribute to men having a lower life expectancy. Although women generally live longer, they may face a lack of economic and social support in old age. Various non-governmental organizations and activist groups operate in Russia on gender equality and women's rights. These groups work to ensure that women and men have equal rights and opportunities. However, such studies may sometimes encounter resistance from the state and society. Women and men in Russia have different life experiences shaped by gender roles, cultural norms, and economic conditions. Although women have made significant progress in education and the workforce, they continue to struggle with problems such as gender inequality and discrimination. Men, on the other hand, may face pressures brought by traditional social roles. Greater awareness and progress on gender equality can improve the quality of life of both women and men. The way and structure of life in Russia is quite complex and multifaceted due to the influence of geographical extent, cultural diversity, and historical background. The country's huge surface area, different climatic conditions, and social dynamics affect every aspect of life. The differences in lifestyle between people living in big cities and rural areas are striking. Moscow and big cities like St. Petersburg are places where modern and cosmopolitan lifestyles are adopted. In these cities, people often live in a busy and fast pace. Tall buildings, developed transportation networks, and various social amenities are important elements of city life. Moscow is the political and economic center of Russia and is also a place where cultural events take place intensively. St. Petersburg is known as the center of history and art. Both cities are rich in museums, theaters, galleries, and restaurants. The modern lifestyle in cities has been shaped by the effects of globalization and is similar to major metropolises around the world. In contrast, life in rural areas is quite different. Life in small towns and villages is slower and more traditional. Agriculture and animal husbandry are the main sources of income in rural life. In these regions, people are more committed to community life and traditions. Neighborhood relations and solidarity are strong. Traditional Russian village life includes wooden houses, large gardens, and a life in touch with nature. Harsh climatic conditions during the winter months can make rural life difficult, but this also increases solidarity and cooperation within the community. Family structure is a central element of life in Russia. Family ties are generally strong, and extended family structure is common. Traditionally, roles within the family are clearly defined. However, these roles change with modernization and urbanization. Women are more involved in education and business life, and men are more involved in housework and childcare. However, gender roles are still distinctly felt. Children often have close relationships with their grandparents, and extended family ties play an important role in child rearing. The education system in Russia is regulated by the state and is generally free. Primary and secondary education is compulsory for all children. The education system aims for students to acquire a wide range of knowledge and skills. University education is also quite common, and Russia has many world-renowned universities. Education is seen as an important means of social mobility and is highly valued among among young people. The healthcare system is also financed by the state, and free healthcare is provided to citizens. However, the quality and accessibility of healthcare may differ between cities and rural areas. While modern hospitals and specialist doctors are available in large cities, access to healthcare may be more limited in rural areas. Russia's vast geography and diverse climatic conditions affect daily life. Winter months are quite harsh, especially in Siberia and northern Russia. This increases heating costs and makes life difficult during the winter months. In contrast, summer months are generally short but hot, and people take advantage of outdoor activities and holidays during this period. Russian cuisine has been shaped by the influence of climate and geography. Nutritious and satisfying dishes form the basis of Russian cuisine. Traditional dishes such as borscht, pelmeni, blini, and kvass are well-known examples of Russian cuisine. Fish, meat, and vegetables are also widely consumed. Food culture is an important element that strengthens family and community ties. Meals are often eaten together with family or groups of friends, which helps strengthen social bonds. Social life differs in big cities and rural areas. In big cities, social life is more active and full of various activities. Activities such as theater, cinema, museum visits, restaurants, and nightclubs are an important part of city life. In rural areas, social life is more centered around community events and family gatherings. Local festivals, traditional celebrations, and agricultural activities are important elements of rural social life. Transportation in Russia is complicated by the vast geography and diverse climatic conditions. In big cities, public transportation such as metro, bus, tram, and trolleybus are common, and transportation is generally easy. Moscow Metro is one of the largest and busiest metro systems in the world and is also famous for its architectural beauty. In rural areas, transportation may be more limited and people often use their private vehicles. Traveling by train is a popular way to explore Russia's vast territory, and the Trans-Siberian Railway stretches thousands of kilometers from east to west of the country. Life in Russia is constantly evolving with social and economic changes. Sports, art and architecture, economy, and popular destinations in Russia are diverse and dynamic areas shaped by the country's vast geography and rich history. Sports occupy a very important place in Russia and enjoy great popularity among the public. Team sports such as football, ice hockey, basketball, and volleyball are the most popular sports. The Russian Premier League is the country's top-flight football league and includes Spartak Moscow, CSKA Moscow, and Zenit St. Teams like St. Petersburg have achieved significant success in the league. In addition, Russia hosted the 2018 FIFA World Cup, and this major sports event contributed greatly to the promotion of the country internationally. Ice hockey is very popular in Russia, and the Continental Hockey League, KHL, is one of the most prestigious ice hockey leagues in the world. Russian athletes have also achieved great success in individual sports. Russian athletes have won numerous medals in Olympic Games and world championships in fields such as gymnastics, athletics, swimming, and weightlifting. Russia is also a leading country in winter sports, and Sochi demonstrated its competence in this field by hosting the 2014 Winter Olympics. Russia's art and architecture are greatly influenced by the country's historical, cultural, and religious background. Russian literature has made great contributions to world literature, and writers such as Fyodor Dostoevsky, Lev Tolstoy, Anton Chekhov are known for their universal themes and deep analyses of human psychology. The works of these writers are read with great respect and admiration not only in Russia but throughout the world. Russian music also has an important heritage. Composers such as Pyotr Ilyich Tchaikovsky, Sergei Rachmaninoff, and Dmitri Shostakovich contributed unforgettable works to classical music. Tchaikovsky's ballets such as Swan Lake, The Nutcracker, and Sleeping Beauty hold an important place in both the world of music and dance. Modern music and popular culture also developed in Russia. The pop, rock, and electronic music scenes are very active. Russian architecture has developed in various styles in different periods and regions. In medieval Russia, wooden churches and cathedrals were common. St. Basil's Cathedral in Moscow is one of the most iconic examples of Russian architecture with its colorful domes and unique design. In the 18th and 19th centuries, Baroque and neoclassical architectural styles became widespread in Russia. St. of the Winter Palace and Peterhof Palace in St. Petersburg are among the magnificent buildings of these periods. During the Soviet period, architectural modernism and constructivism movements were influential, and buildings such as the Seven Sisters in Moscow are among the symbols of this period. Nowadays, modern and innovative architectural projects are also carried out in Russia. Moscow International Business Center, Moskva City, attracts attention with its modern skyscrapers and commercial centers. Russia's economy is largely based on natural resources in the energy sector. Russia, which has the world's largest oil and natural gas reserves, generates significant income from the export of these resources. State-owned energy companies such as Gazprom and Rosneft have a huge influence on the global energy market. The mining sector is also an important part of the economy, and Russia is a major producer of gold, diamonds, and other precious metals. The agricultural sector also has an important place. Products such as wheat, barley, sugar beets, and potatoes are Russia's main agricultural products. The industrial sector is developed in areas such as automotive, aerospace, defense industry, and chemical industry. Information technologies and the digital economy are also growing rapidly. Moscow and St. Petersburg stands out as the economic centers of the country, and the financial, service, and technology sectors in these cities are important components of the country's economy. Popular destinations in Russia offer rich history, culture, and natural beauty. Moscow attracts the attention of tourists with its iconic structures such as Red Square, Kremlin Palace, and St. Basil's Cathedral. The Bolshoi Theater in Moscow hosts world-famous ballet and opera productions. St. Petersburg is known for its magnificent architecture and history. The Hermitage Museum is one of the largest and most prestigious art museums in the world and is home to millions of works of art. Bridges and palaces over the Neva River add a romantic atmosphere to the city. Russia's natural beauties are also worth exploring. Lake Baikal is the deepest freshwater lake in the world and is famous for its unique nature and biodiversity. The Kamchatka Peninsula is a paradise for nature lovers with its active volcanoes, hot springs, and wilderness. Altai Mountains are an ideal region for outdoor activities such as trekking, mountaineering, and rafting. Sochi is a popular destination for both summer and winter tourism, with resorts and winter sports centers on the Black Sea coast. Russia's vast geography and historical heritage deeply affects the country's lifestyle, economic structure, and cultural richness. Sports, arts, architecture, economy, and popular destinations reflect the vibrant and dynamic nature of this large and diverse country. Although Russia has experienced significant changes and transformations throughout history, it continues to hold an important place on the world stage with its rich cultural heritage and natural beauties. In this video, we gave you various information about Russia. You can support us by liking our video and subscribing to our channel. Goodbye until our next video.